2, 3, ready, go. Hey everybody, I'm starting off with a smile, but I have a feeling that this is going to be a rant video. Before I do rant, because I think it's coming, when I open this package from Heroforge, predicting a rant. But before I do that, let me just say, I'm not anti-Heroforge. I like Heroforge. I have fun designing stuff on their site. I use both them and Desktop Hero when I want to design characters. Player characters or NPCs, and I really want a specific pose or holding a certain item that I haven't gotten from my Patreons. It's rare these days because I back about 12 different Patreons and a lot of them make modular options, so I don't use as much as I used to, but I do like the Heroforge product. I do think for a downloadable STL, it's a little overpriced for me. I think it's $7.99 normally, but when they go on sale, they're like $3.99, sometimes even cheaper, and then I admit I go to Heroforge, I pick up 1 or 2 characters or NPCs. And the reason I feel a rant coming on, well, first off, you see before you some examples of painted figures and why my painted figures are relevant. You see I was even painting today, some trees, is Heroforge came out with a Kickstarter last year, which really got me excited. And I think, obviously not just me, because I think it raised like $4 million to print in color. Now, I know artists probably weren't happy when that happened, thinking they were going to be out of a job. But for people like me who, although I paint decently, like I'm a tabletop quality painter, I have a lot of figures not painted all over the place. If I showed them all, especially between my older unpainted Warhammer stuff and my Warhammer 40K stuff, plus the probably 1,000 plus models I've 3D printed, I probably have over 2,000 unpainted models. So the prospect of being able to have someone print for me in full 3D print in color, and then I don't have to paint, I mean, it's a pretty staggering and beautiful idea. And like I said, a lot of people agreed with me and agreed with Heroforge to the tune, I believe, around $4 million. And when I looked during the Kickstarter, the figure they showed, they gave an example, and I'll flash it here, of a winged, like, angel type. And it looked pretty good. It didn't look great. It definitely didn't look as good as if you spent 10 hours painting your own mini if you're a half decent painter, but it looked pretty good. And it was just really exciting. And the eyes came out looking nice, everything. It wasn't going to put any pro painters out of business. You could tell from that. And the funny thing is, Heroforge, on the pictures they put on their Kickstarter, which I think, I'm not accusing them of being deceptive, but I didn't like this. The minis they put for comparison that were pro painted were pro painted pretty terribly. If they were pro painted, it looks like they were pro painted by an 8-year-old. So I look more like my paint level, maybe even lower. So pro painted, that was a little suspicious. But then I saw a lot of reviews. Like, a lot of people have reviewed the Heroforge Color Minis, and all the reviews have been glowing. Like, I maybe if I search harder, or maybe you guys can search and find a negative review, but they were all pretty good, and that had me pretty excited. So I started looking closer at the pictures, and I'll flash one here from a review I was looking at. To me, the printed mini looks absolutely nothing like the mini that was designed. I mean, okay, it looks like something, but in their mini designer, which I'll show you what I designed an orc, which we're going to open up, and if you look at it now, you can see all the colors, the detail, there's shading, there's highlighting. I got to pick the eye color. It's really exciting. I mean, the color picker, this tool is amazing. It's like millions of colors. I mean, it's incredible, and you make the mini look just awesome. But then I start looking in those reviews of the pictures of people who got the minis. And even though they're giving glowing reviews, I'm looking at these pictures, I'm like, the minis don't look good. The colors are washed out. Instead of the million colors I can choose on their site, it looks like they could probably only print in about 20 colors or blotchy shades of colors. I mean, there's no shading, there's no highlighting, like all the stuff I could do on their tool, which is amazingly fun. If you go play with it, you'll love it. I guarantee you'll love the tool. But if you pay to get a mini printed out, it doesn't look like that. Who cares? Who cares if you can pick the eye color if the eyes don't print out like that? What's the point? I mean, it's a fun exercise, yeah, but so I feel a rant coming on, even though I didn't open this yet, because looking at other people's pictures, I have a feeling I'm going to be very disappointed when I open this. I'm hoping I'm not. I'm hoping instead of a rant, maybe I'll be pleasantly surprised but don't count on it. I mean, I might have to. I'm counting on having to bleep some stuff out. And again, nothing against Heroforge in general. I like the site. I like what they do. So I'm not like trying to slam Heroforge. I might be slamming their color prints. So let me start off. First part, and this is gonna be a rant. I paid, I think, $44 or $45 to get my color print a year ago, and then you could, and I don't fault them for the time because it's Kickstarter. It's supposed to take them time to develop the tools. They're supposed to use the money for that, and I guess to buy super expensive color 3D printers. But I do my stuff in 34mm scale, so if anyone sees my Kickstarter stuff, figures are a little, they're not standard D&D size, they're a little bigger. I feel like when I'm playing, I like to see things a little bigger. I can see them a little better since I'm, playing in a local store at home. If they're a little over scale compared to D&D, what's the difference? And if I make everything that scale, it's just better. So why am I telling you that? Because I wanted the orc I was doing to be, I didn't want him to be 30mm tall. He's going to look like a dwarf. I need him to be, a few millimeters taller. So I scaled my figure up into their XL size range, I guess. I made him, I think, maybe 3 or 4mm taller than he was going to be. For that, I got charged $15. $15 upcharge for making him this much bigger. Now, I 3D printed home, as you guys know. Hopefully, most everybody here watching 3D prints at home. So if you make the figure 3mm taller, it might take an extra 15 minutes to print, maybe 20, 30 minutes if it's really low layer height. And it might cost you about an extra 5 to 10 cents in material. For this, I got charged $15. I bought into their Kickstarter to fund them, $44. They can't give me an XL figure for that $44. They upcharged me $15 for that tiny little bit of height. So right there, even if this figure looks perfect, I'm still pissed off. I backed you a year. I gave you my money a year in advance so you could develop the tools, to buy the machine, do whatever, and you charged me $15 to get a slightly taller figure. Heroforge, that's bull, okay? So that's the first part of my rant. Even if I love the figure, the $15 upcharge for a little bit extra size, bull. Okay, now I'm not going to let that prejudice or color my opening the figure. Oh, before I do that, speaking of color, I see this bright red down here. FDNY. Hey people, forget what's going on in the world. People at the fire department, people at the police. I know there might be some bad cops out there, but let's not talk about them. But you got firemen. You got policemen, you got people in the army. These people do jobs where they risk their lives. They're willing to basically die on their job to protect people like me and people like you. So let's not let the few bad ones give a bad rep to all the good ones, because I happen to know some great people on the fire department, some great people on the police department. I mean, I know a guy in the police department who's like a hero. He would step in front of a bullet for any of you. So when I hear people talking bad about the police in general, I don't like that, because people like him, this guy's such a hero that me and most of you will never be. So I don't like to hear people talking bad about people like him. Anyway, and our military too. These kids are out there fighting and dying for America, for freedom. So anyway, this is not political, by the way. This has nothing to do with politics. Just we should support the people who risk their lives to protect us, is all I'm saying. Anyway, let's move on to this. Okay. You can see it's not been open. I am cutting it open. You are getting to experience the joy or the frustration with me. Okay, packaging. Let's see. Bubble wrap. Bubble wrap with a little bubble wrap inside it. I like that. That seems pretty safe. Let's just get that out of the way. And, okay, be careful with this. Since it effectively cost me $60, I don't want to break it, right? Maybe I can cut this open now. Okay. You know what? I'm not going to rant as bad as I thought. Yeah, it's well, you see what I did, and then I'm gonna show this close up, and I'll even turntable it. I won't say. You know what? Better. Okay. Hey, Heroforge, I was actually prepared for a really expletive-filled rant on this, and I'm going to actually say it's better than I was expecting. I mean, I don't think those colors are true to what I picked, but it is still better, better than I was expecting. And now you guys are going to watch me geek out here because I'm going to show you close-up high-res photos, but in order to see what I've got here, I'm putting on the jeweler's glasses, baby. I'm going for it with the light and everything. Okay, mini rant coming. So now that I'm looking at it close, and you'll see in the pictures what I can see, it's I don't know what this material is. It's funky. It's like it reminds me of they do actually try to put in a little bit of shading. I take it back because when I looked at other people's photos, I didn't really see it. There is some color change which would indicate like some form of shading, but. Okay, so there's not going to be as bad a rant as I thought, but it's going to be a mini rant. The eyes don't even print out, okay? And I designed eyes, so, I'm going to tone down my rant to this. Aside from the fact they shouldn't have charged me $15, because you can see he's not even big. I mean, if I put him next to he's the right size for 36 millimeter scale here. So I did scale him up a little bit, but they charged me $15 extra for that. I'm not happy. And as great as your tool is, if you don't want to do false marketing based, I'm not saying you're trying to be false, but so let me not say false. The marketing, when I'm in the design tool, I'm designing something that I'm not going to get the thing that I design in terms of looks. Your tool should reflect the actual product. I know it won't be as flashy looking, but people should know what they're getting. And even though this actually does look kind of cool, I'm going to say, which actually surprised me, but the colors are not what I picked. I mean, and you'll see what I did versus this. Overall, I'll say this isn't bad. I think even at my level of painting, my painted figures look better, clearer. This, I guess, has a little more bleed. And excuse me for putting these on. I know how cool I look with these on, so let me go back into 40-year-old virgin mode here. The print is not as sharp as you'd get like off a Sonic Mini 4K. So I know their printer probably costs a few $100,000 and the Mini 4K costs $300. But because they're trying to print in color, I guess they just can't get that level, of sharpness that you can get. Because I don't know what this printing out, but this almost looks like sand, like really refined sand. So I don't know if people are familiar. If you played World of Warcraft back in the day or even now, there's a company called Figure Prints. I don't know if that's the company name or just the website, but Figure Prints where they would grab your figure from World of Warcraft, and I didn't even know what it was back then, but it was 3D printing. They would 3D print your figure, and it was like, I wish I don't have my figure handy to show you. It got destroyed in a fire. But it was like made of layers of sand, colored sand it looked like basically. Pretty crappy looking. At the time, it was phenomenal. And it was 3D printed, but like I said, back then, no one even knew, well, at least I didn't know what 3D printing was. This looks like a more advanced version of my old Warcraft figure. This almost looks like really fine sand layered together. And maybe that's how I guess they do color. They can't do color, I guess, into a liquid resin. At least this doesn't appear to have been liquid that's hardened. I feel like it's almost kind of some kind of sand that was then hardened with an agent. I don't even know what the process, maybe I should look up. I know there's something called sintering, which I think is what they did, like the powdery stuff they used to make the old Warcraft figures from. I'm not sure if this is like an advanced version of that. So the figure doesn't look as good as a resin printed figure just in terms of like overall detail and sharpness. And it does have like almost like a sandy, very, very fine sandy looking texture to it. And the other thing in the tool they have, you can pick out like glowing stuff. Like I did the potion like the glowing blue. It doesn't look like any glowing blue. Like the color picker's misleading actually. Like I said, it's a great tool and it's a lot of fun to play with. But I don't think it's right to give people a tool to design their figure when you can't print something that looks like what they designed. Like to me, that tool should show you what you're going to get, not your fantasy of what you're going to get. So again, this rant, I was honestly, because this came out better than I thought, I'm not going into a full rant mode. And I will actually give Heroforge this, whoever makes that printer, this technology maybe in 2 or 3 years, it actually might be as good as I can paint, or maybe even someone better than me eventually. I don't know that you'll never get to the level, like you'll never be, I can't imagine you'll print it out and it'll look like, Chris Spots or James Wapple or Craft World or Brent or someone like that, or Emil, painted it up. But they can definitely surpass me maybe in the next generation. This is actually close enough. Like I said, I can paint better than this for sure, and I'm a mediocre painter. But a little better than I thought. So I won't go into full rant mode, except that, and you look at the other examples too from other people. If you can't print eyes, don't let me design eyes. If you can't make a glowing potion color, don't give me that beautiful option for glowing magical potions. It's almost not fair, because you're dangling something in front of me that I can't print. For people, I will say this, I'm going to say something positive now instead. For people who are absolutely horrible, terrible painters, and I know you're out there, because I see some people post on Facebook, and some people post stuff that literally almost looks like they dipped each part in some paint. That's how bad it is. And no offense to you guys, because everyone doesn't have to be a good painter, and I'm not that good. So if you're an absolutely horrible painter, or you have absolutely no time to paint, I would say actually, I can't believe I'm saying this now, it is a viable option. If you're a half decent painter and you have some time to paint, you're going to do way better. So then you don't, especially on your player characters, which would look really good. Maybe for an NPC, you do something like this, it's quick. But first of all, it's expensive. It's $45 per figure, which, you could almost pay someone to paint a figure for you for that price. And if you get it upsized just a little bit, then you're at $60. For $60, I could get someone to paint better than this. I could hire someone to paint a figure better than this for $60. So I think Heroforge, they need to find a way to bring that price down. Look, they raised $4 million right on the Kickstarter, so they got a huge chunk of money. I think they should be able to bring this price down. If this figure costs you like $30, $40, then I'd actually say, for all your NPCs and stuff like that, you don't have time to paint, get it, actually. Can't believe I'm saying that, because I was ready to rant and rave. But for your player character, it's still not good enough for me, and the colors are not what I picked. Plus, not for nothing, I think like Heroforge, I guess it's hard to manipulate different body types. Their dwarf body type and their orc body type to me are not nearly beefy enough. Like if I have an orc about the same height, my orc that I made for my Kickstarter is like twice as wide. I mean, the beefiness orcs should be huge and beefy. So I think Heroforge is also better for human type build models. If you like orcs beefier, as beefy as I could make, it's not that beefy, and their dwarves are also not beefy enough. But again, getting back, we're just talking about the color option. I actually, not so bad. I guess I can't believe I'm saying that. But again, when I show you you saw what I did, now we're going to look at both up close also, because I want you to see the texture of this. Guys can decide if you like the texture or not, and you'll see that it doesn't get the colors that I picked, which I'm not sure what to tell you in terms of their color picker the other reason their tool should reflect what you get is because if I knew that the color that I picked was actually going to come out like this, I might have tried a different color, right? But because their color tool doesn't actually reflect what you're getting, you don't know until you get it. And then I get it and I say, I should have picked a different color for the armor. It looks a little weird. It doesn't look that bad, but it doesn't look like what I picked, which the whole point of being able to design it is that it looks like what I picked, right? But this was not as much fun as I thought, because I was ready to be mad. I was ready to be really mad, and I am over the $15 Heroforge. You're not off the hook. I'm mad at you that you charged me $15 to make them a little taller. That part was BS. But still, a little better than I thought anyway. What can I say? All right, guys, hope you please subscribe. Check out my other reviews, my resin reviews, my printer reviews. My Kickstarter was a wonderful success. Hey, everybody out there who backed my Kickstarter, thank you so much for the support. You're getting files very shortly. They are amazing. When you see these minis, when you see the minis you're going to get, and you print these suckers out, man, you're going to be amazed. The minis are by the top sculptors, and they are gorgeous, gorgeous minis. I'm going to be offering these trees up, by the way. I love trees. Hopefully everyone who, war games, whether it's D&D, Warhammer, Frostgrave, Mordheim, any of those things, you need trees. And I was happy with the trees I had, but I knew I could be happier, and I wanted trees with a lot of small canopies so you could have space going through them, because real trees you can always basically see through. So that's what I tried to design and did. So you'll see these trees are going to be coming out soon on my store, which is bloodyswordminiatures.com. So check out the shop, bloodyswordminiatures.com. It's open now. Just one test figure there for now, which is an incredible war bear with battle damage. Go check that out. Bookmark the store. In a couple of weeks, it's going to be loaded up with incredible miniatures with these trees. That store, I'm going to keep adding premium miniature content there. So you're going to want to check that out. That's it. Again, thanks for all the love and support I got there on my Kickstarter. It was actually very humbling. I'm very appreciative that people gave me a chance, not just as the supports guy, but as a creator, because people don't know that about me, but I actually am a pretty creative person, been inventing games and stuff like that for a long time. So this is finally giving me an outlet to do what I really love. Thank you all. All right, thanks. Happy 3D printing.